Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 27th of March. We're doing daily portrait drawings, and today we have this awesome reference. The photo taken by the street photographer David Callanan, who on Instagram you can find as Larry Davy. And Ike, our friend Ike, who is often here drawing, posted a video on YouTube of his drawing from this portrait, and I love it. It is so good, and you should all check it out and subscribe to Ike's YouTube channel. He's doing really cool stuff with markers at the moment, and I've seen the video come up a couple times on YouTube, and I just love it so much. So I went digging through David's awesome gallery on Instagram of his photos, and I found this picture, and we've often worked from David's photos on my YouTube channel, and he's been on the Drawn Together show a couple times, and is just such a wonderful, creative, passionate barber and photographer, and I always love seeing his work and drawing from it. So this is what we've got today. Hello, Anastasios, and 6 others of you who are watching live right now. I would love you to say hello in the chat. And I have some space, some leftover space, and I was wondering how I can use it on, wait a minute, here. My spread here. It's not a lot of space, but it's enough space that I feel like I can't just leave it. I need to put something here. So then I thought it could be interesting to work with this reference. So if you're in the Discord server, and I think since yesterday like 10 new people joined, so welcome to the Discord server, everyone. We now have 310 people there. In the Discord server, I shared the whole reference image, so you can get the link in the description, or I can maybe even quickly put it in the live chat, and you can jump over there and you can get the link. Hi Cindy, hola Luis, nice to have you here. Here is the Discord server, and I will talk about the Discord server a bit because people are joining and they get in there and they're like, what's going on here? There is a daily reference chat where I share the reference photos and people share their work. And you can see the last 50 tagged references. If you go up to pinned references, sorry. If you, at the top, there is like pinned posts, and you can go there and you'll see the 50 most recent reference posts. And then you can just like go through all of them and draw them all. And there's a lot of really good reference there. And there are other chats as well. A lot of things going on and a lot of potential. Hello, Martina, Cheryl, and Linda. Thank you for being here. Let's draw, shall we? So, I like ink, and I think this could be really interesting. Like, I want to go over the divide on the page, like the gutter here, and it's challenging. I did it way back earlier in the book. Hi, Ronnie. The one with Senator Briggs was like in the middle, and I was kind of like, I don't know. But now I have this idea that if I put the corner of his glasses right here, then I can go out with the hood, extend out over the other side. So this is like the extent. I'm kind of thinking the portrait will be here, and it's going to kind of be like he'll be over the shoulder of Tassim. But I'm not sure yet. He might be bigger. He might end up being bigger than Tassim. Overeen, buenos nachos, yum yum yum. Hi Jean, nice to have you here again from Bruxelles. Anyone who feels like it, maybe we all know each other now, but feel free to let us know in the chat where you're drawing from. I think, so David Callanan, our dear friend and creator of incredible photos, is in Boston, and so a lot of his portraits, his street photography, is in Boston, and I know sometimes he takes trips to New York just to go photographing people, and he he went, it must be like a couple of years ago now, or maybe it was last year, I can't remember. Time flies, but he went on a street photography journey to India with Zumento, another street photographer friend, and they took incredible photos there. And I've mentioned it a couple of days ago. We drew Radha Sadigova, and we've worked from other street photographer references on my channel, and I just love the sense of it feels like traveling without going anywhere, and it's so close, it's so intense and up close and personal, and encountering these people, being in different places, like the street setting, the graffiti in the background here, there's like a train carriage to the right, there's so much going on, and it really for someone who loves traveling and spends a lot of time in a little village in Germany, it's really exciting to just have this sense of connection through the lens of these wonderful photographers who are out in the world, meeting people and collecting faces. Adam, howdy, Corinna. Not far from you, Adam. A 5-hour drive. I was in Boston once. I went to the illustration masterclass, which was at Amherst. And so I was in Boston and I met some wonderful people there. I couch surfed and I rode with a fixie bicycle through Boston, which was, I'd never ridden a fixed gear bike before, and that was a little bit intense because it just felt so different to the cycling I'm used to. And then I was in this big city with this strange bike to me, but it was such a wonderful time. I loved being there. And yeah, the illustration masterclass was so cool. I learned so much there. It was just like an immersion, bathing in inspiration and knowledge and learning, and it was so cool. I learned so much in a week of being there. It was a very cool experience. And I went there twice. The second time the first time I went to New York, the first time I went to Boston, the second time I went to New York City before going to the masterclass. And there were such incredible teachers, and also the other people, the other participants there. There was just such a wonderful wealth of experience that people had, and mostly from the realms of fantasy illustration, some comics, some tattoo artists there, and it was really, really cool. A lot of practicing professionals, some people fresh out of or still in art school, and then me just kind of wondering, how do you learn how to draw and paint? It was very exciting and wonderful. So if you haven't been following along, let me know if you're here and this is your first time to one of these live streams. The past month, the month is almost over, we've been focusing on shadow shapes, and I've been looking at things, thinking about shadow shapes a lot, and I haven't talked about it much so far, but this is kind of like the pure line phase. Last month we focused on pure line, and with this line I'm setting up my shadow shapes, and I know that with my ink I'll be able to go in, fill in some really nice shapes, and that's what I'm about to do. So I might just take a work in progress shot, because this is about to transform. Oh, Adam, you asked how many portraits I get out of a filled cartridge with this pen, and I refilled my ink yesterday, I'm pretty sure, or was it here? I can't remember which day, but I recently refilled it. So it will be interesting to, if you're interested, you can count, or I can count, or take note of when it was that I refilled. And we can see how long until it gets dry. And now it'll be interesting to be like, okay, how many drawings do I get out of a refilled cartridge? So here, thinking of the shadow shapes, all the really deep, dark shadows I can just fill with ink, and I'm going to be using the water brush to borrow some of that shadow to spread it around a bit. I forgot to look at a Procreate portrait yesterday after drawing Tassim, but I think I was so into the content of the conversation that I just forgot about Procreate portrait. And I got a message from Tassim. He just said, "Wow, danke." So that was nice. He saw my portrait. I wonder if any of you, if you were posting and tagging him, maybe he saw yours as well. Adam, yes please, I'll pay attention too. I just refilled with other ink that looks similar to the consistency with what I'm using. Interesting. Yeah, like I have this big bottle of ink. I had a little bottle of this ink, Pelican Brilliant Black, and when I used it up, I got a big bottle, and I've just been using it so much, and maybe it would be interesting to try with some other inks, but I definitely feel like I've found my stride with this ink, and especially with getting it wet and then using that, just the wet ink. So it's interesting what you showed. So Adam has been wondering, has this new pen, also got this pen and another pen recently, and it's using up a lot of ink. And Adam is now experimenting. He's sharing this on the Discord server. And so it's really interesting. There is a chat for chatting about materials that we're using. There's a chat for sharing inspiration. There are lots of different conversations happening on the Discord server. And yeah, when you showed Adam that your ink like isn't drying, I found it very confusing. And I wonder what kind of climate you have in Maine, because my ink is not, it dries pretty fast. It kind of absorbs a bit into the paper. I know in the past that I have often smudged and smeared my ink around. Oh, I still haven't recharged my timer. So this is probably about 10 minutes now. But I think that the ink should dry. I'm very puzzled by the fact that your ink doesn't seem to be drying, Adam. Because yeah, it's so easy. You may notice from the way I draw that I rest my finger. Oh, here's a little bit of ink. But I rest my little finger on the page and try and float above the drawing. So if you're new to working with ink, it's inevitable that you're going to get a lot of ink on your hands. You're going to like rub through the ink. But similar to with oil paint, where you can put something on your drawing surface or nearby, so you can kind of float above your paper. That's kind of what I'm doing. I want to like hover above the drawing so that I'm not getting too smudgy with it, smearing it all around. And sometimes it can happen in a very inopportune place in the drawing, and it's like, oh no, you just like, you've got something, or you're trying to preserve a highlight and then you just rub ink through it. But yeah, learning how to use, how to physically be with the medium is also part of the process. All right, I'm wondering about using a brush to fill in a lot of the shadow shape around here, because it's going to take a lot of parallel pen to fill in the darkness. And just to indicate it, I was thinking it'd be cool to keep like a highlight, just a line of light around Tassim, so that there is a kind of separation between the images. I think that could be cool. So I had my ink brush here, like recently, but maybe I will do like the midtones first. Oh wow, Adam, the cartridge looks half full after yesterday's drawing, but there's more in the rest of the pen, so it's hard to say. Yeah. Also, don't use water to spread, so might use more out of the pen. Yeah. The new ink dries faster, might be the cartridges that come with the pen. Maybe it's a pilot marketing ploy. They give you a few cartridges and they're like, hey, look at this ink. And then you're like, you just buy more of it because you're like, oh no, I need more ink. And then you're in the pilot ecosystem. Whereas I never got any more of those cartridges. After the first one emptied, I just refilled it with my Pelican ink, which I already had. There's also, you can maybe see, like, it's not such a solid black, but if I wanted it to go really dark with it, I could also, I could totally do another layer to go darker, to get blacker with the ink, if I really want to push the shadow value. Tomorrow, I am hoping to film a tutorial for my Patreon supporters. My shadow shapes tutorial. It may... I've been trying to do so much all week, and I'm not sure I'll get it done tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, Monday, I should have it done. And I'm looking forward to getting that out. It's going to be the shadow shapes, or value shapes tutorial. And I've focused on shadow shapes a lot and in various tutorials. So I'm thinking of ways, how can I make this tutorial a bit different? And I have some ideas how we can really try and get to an essential understanding of shadow shapes and how to use them and how to perceive them. So I think it's going to be really cool. Anyone who's interested can join my Patreon, where I share monthly tutorials. So in the live streams, you may notice I'm working with this idea of monthly themes: continuous line, pure line, shadow shapes, and I'll be doing a complementary tutorial for each of those, which kind of will be bringing together the experience and insights accumulated through the month and of my years of practice, and bringing that together in a tutorial. So it's a fun format. It's the first time I've had like a plan for the year. I was wondering, what am I going to do with Patreon this year? It'd be cool to do something different. I was kind of, from month to month, I would just kind of improvise something. And I think there's a lot of great tutorials on my Patreon from the past. But each time, it was like every month, I was like, what am I going to do this month? What am I going to do this month? And it was really cool just to... like I had this feeling that I felt like my tutorials, am I just saying the same thing all the time? I don't know. I don't know how many tutorials and how many courses I've filmed now, how many live streams I've done, but I feel like there's a lot of things that I say a lot. And I would like it to stay relevant for the people who've been with me for years already, to keep getting something out of it. So it's like, how can I create like a path and a trajectory where I'm exploring new things and able to share something new? And then the idea came along to, what about I plan for the year doing something slightly different ways of looking thing every month, and that's what I'm doing. And Ike is here. Ike inspired this portrait. Thank you very much, Ike. I love your version of this. So are you going to do another version for this live stream, or are you just going to chill out because you've already done it and it's so good? Yeah, so I'm excited about my Patreon tutorials this year. I've always been excited about it. I think Patreon is such a cool thing. The whole concept of, it's like crowdfunding in a way that it's like a small amount, it's accessible to many people, and people can really get something out of it. And it's a way that a lot of people, by contributing a little bit, can support the work in all that I'm sharing and creating. So I support a bunch of people on Patreon as well, and I think it's a really cool platform. And yeah, it's nice to have that vision for this year, and it's feeling good. So if you're interested in joining that, for $10 a month, I think, €10 a month. By the way, don't sign up on your phone in the Patreon app, because Apple it becomes much more expensive. They take like a pretty big cut of any purchases made through the iOS system. It goes through the App Store, and then it costs you more as a Patreon supporter to support people directly through the app. So you can use the app to look at posts, but if you want to join Patreon, then it's better, as a supporter, it's better to do it from a desktop or from a browser, not through the iOS app. Because then you may think that you're giving €15 worth of support, and €5 of that is going to Apple, which I think is very cheeky. And that, by the way, is also why I don't have in the live streams and stuff, there's this thing called Super Chat, where you may have seen in other live streams that you can give money to, or sometimes there's like a little love heart with a $sign in it on some YouTube accounts, and you can support creators directly through YouTube. But once I got monetized, I tried that out once, and Google take 1/3 of the money which is given through that, which I just think, Google have enough money, and it's not the way I want to do it. I don't want people to think that they're giving me money and 1/3 of it's going to Google or Apple. So that's a thing. Also, to keep in mind, supporting anyone, that the platforms that host things are always taking a cut. So it's nice to find ways, I think, that to try and support the people making the stuff as directly as possible. All right, I found a brush. I'm going to put some ink on it. It's not the brush that I had recently, but it's a brush. It's this nice big flat brush that's really cool for putting lots of ink down. And it's like, even I like these calligraphy pens. I like these broad edge drawing tools and painting tools. And I feel like there's a direct kind of translation, just a scaling up of the format of the tool from the calligraphy pen to, oh, that's very wet. Careful that doesn't drip down across my, there we go, a drip. At least not in the face. There we go. Yeah, Linda, it is crazy, right? Like as if Google needs more money. And that's an interesting thing with YouTube channels. It's like, congratulations, you're able to monetize your channel now. And when I had reached that, and it's like you need a certain amount of watch hours, and then you can take advantage of these tools to earn during your live streams. And then I only did it once, and I think Claire, my dear sister, she sent me a super chat support just to be like, oh, like how does it work? And then realized like, what? That's so rude. 1/3. Yeah, so here, look at this brush. And this is something I was chatting with you about, Adam, that if your pen is using a lot, that you can also get another tool to, like if you've got big areas to fill, then you can just like dip straight into some ink, and another tool could do the trick better than the pen. Oh, this is so dark. There's like so much ink coming on with the brush. It's cool. Yeah, it is very interesting how limiting colors, like creating these constraints, can be so interesting. And I think with your marker work as well, like you're sticking to really limited colors, and I love everything you're doing with your markers. Like I've been enjoying your work so much with pencil or whatever you choose to use, and it's been really interesting to see now how you're using these markers. And it's I feel like it really complements the way you work really nicely. And also just choosing just a few colors to work with. It's really interesting. But yeah, this thing, like if you just stick to values, then it's just like light and dark. It eliminates part of the problem solving. Is you're figuring out, oh, should I use this color? Should I use that? What am I going to use now? It's just like, how dark and how light is this? Yeah, Cheryl, it is interesting how it works, right? Anyone who has any questions on any of this stuff, feel free to ask, because I've been doing lots of, trying to figure it out. Nothing is super easy. Like everything that I have done social media wise, it requires a lot of consistency and just doing a lot. I see some people that seem to just post a few things and then they have like so much success, and partly that's to do with the cool ideas that they have and the amount of effort they put into each thing. I've tried to economize the way I do things by, it's like I'll just do a thing and then make a time lapse of that thing. And I wonder if I kind of did some fun kind of editing and stuff, if that would make a difference, or had a hook. I know that what I'm doing is kind of the same every time, but it's a different face every time, so it's different every time. Whereas like Andrew Kadima is like, oh, what if I paint with the blindfold on? What if I only use 30 brushstrokes for this entire portrait? And he's got all these cool ideas that he's pushing and experimenting with. And but for me, it's just been years of consistently practicing, doing stuff together with people, meeting lots of cool people online along the way. Oh, that must have been that drip that came down. I lost part of the highlight of the glasses there. The glasses frame. Oh well. That might be it for today. Ike, sometimes you have a really cool like white pencil and you're like, and it's like, wow, look, a bit of light that you draw into it. I have a white pencil somewhere. Where is it? this could be it. Oh, and I said I would look at a Procreate drawing. Because on the 5th of April, I'm going to do a Procreate workshop. Shapes in Procreate. I don't know if this will work. Because this is like a soft white, but there we go. It worked. If you made it this far, or although the video is not quite finished because we're about to look at a Procreate portrait, but you could put your drawing hand emoji in the chat. Well, this is an interesting question. Dylan, have you ever thought about selling your completed sketchbooks? Someone asked how much my completed sketchbook would cost if I sold mine, and I didn't have an answer. That is interesting. I have not thought about it. A wonderful illustrator got in touch with me once and was like, someone said they want to buy my sketchbook. And I was like, whoa, how would such a thing be priced? It's so much that goes into creating these, like so much time, but it's just fun and it's playful. So that is a very interesting question I don't have an answer for. Very interesting. Sometimes when I'm just totally overwhelmed by such things, I'd be like, how much do you want to pay? Which is difficult, and I've heard it's very unprofessional to do that. But if you're presented with a situation that you've never been in before and have no orientation, you can just be like, help. How much should, all of the time and effort that's gone into it. But it's interesting, because once you've the main thing of the making the thing is in the making of the thing, right? The connection, the being present and learning and doing it. So once it's done and you've just got sketchbooks stacking up, it's interesting sometimes to flip back through them, but if someone else is going to get some enjoyment out of them, that would be cool. All right, I would not be averse to selling a complete sketchbook, but I just kind of what a process it would be to try and figure out. All right, here's an interesting Procreate portrait. And there's some other things going on. Hey, stop that. Does anyone know how to... I have not been able to figure out with my iPad how to do screen mirroring to put the iPad as a camera source directly into the computer. That would be so good, because then you'd be able to see it like how I see it. And I'm hoping, if it's even possible, that I can get that figured out by the workshop on the 5th. So here, this was a fun one. The reference photo of Jordan was, there was this cool painting in the background with all these vivid colors, and often my backgrounds are just pretty muted and there's not much going on, but it was just there was so much color and life and movement in the background. So it was really fun to incorporate that into this one. And as I've been showing everyone, get in here and look, it's shapes, it's all shapes. Oh, there is a bit of line in here as well to add some of the details, but the whole thing is just made up of shapes. Look at that. I feel like if you had a lot of time, you could do this with transparent paper. And that would be really incredible to see something like that that's actually built up of all of these layers. But you can do it with much less time with Procreate. But it would be pretty amazing to... Oh, look at that. It's just these cropping into these bits and just seeing this abstract kind of cool layering and stuff. Ah, so cool. Bit of chin here. And there was more things said and asked. Karina has just used the last page of your sketchbook. That's amazing. Dedicated to drawing with Dylan. Wow. I would love to see a walkthrough of that. You've never drawn so much. That's so cool. So wonderful that you've done so much drawing with me, Corinna. I'd love to see it. Martina says, I like what you're doing though. There's so much info to learn and I'm learning from you even though I'm a newbie here. So good. Newbie, old bee. Practice, practice, practice. Like the more you do, the more you practice, the more you see, and you just have a wealth of experience that you're able to draw from. And it took a while to realize that in the beginning, the kind of it takes a while. You see work that you love and that moves you. Like I have some paintings of other people around here, and I was like, wow, there's some super cool quality. Or you go to museums and see amazing things, and then you start when you're starting out, and it feels like, well, this is very far removed from that stuff that I love. But it's like each time you draw, you're practicing and you're seeing and you're kind of refining your awareness of how you represent things, and it's just such a wonderful journey to be on. So it's great to have you here, newbies and old bees alike. Overeem says, do you still work on the oil portrait I recently started? I have not. I haven't had time to. I was like, I'm going to keep working on it tomorrow, and that was 2 weeks ago, but I will. Adam loved this, so good, thank you. Lewis is trying to draw directly with parallel pen. A little scary. Going to document your process. I've loved seeing the progress photos that you've been sharing in Discord, Lewis. Really cool. Could I have my sketchbook printed off? Corinna asks. I think so many people would want to buy a copy. That would be interesting. I was wondering recently, because I have so many drawings, like what if I curated like favorites? I know there are some artists I've seen who do like a one-to-one reproduction of their sketchbook, which is pretty cool. But I wonder if it was like through the years, maybe, I don't know, it's an idea. It sounds like a big project. If I had printed copies of my sketchbook, that would be a good idea. Cool. I will keep that in mind. It could be really interesting for this one, actually, because I started at the start of the year, or the end of last year, about halfway through. So yeah, that could be interesting. I'll look into it. AirPlay. Thank you, Adam. I will look into that. I haven't used AirPlay, so that could be it. Nicole, could you print off Procreate layers separately on transparent paper and put them together? That's a very good idea. Yeah, sure. I think even that process would be, can you see this? Even that process of printing individual layers would be an effort. Look at this ear shape here that I've made. You can just see, and it's just a bit of the warmth in the ear. So if I take that off, look at that. It's pretty subtle, but it makes a difference. And here, this is like the whole, so there's the original skin tone, and then there's like a bit darker, and then just layering on top. There's some cool shadow under the jaw. It's really interesting just to go back and look through here. A highlight layer here. Just see the highlights on the face. Could drop them out. So yeah, I guess you could totally print out these layers and have an actual physical piece. That's a very interesting idea. So yeah, it's built up of all these layers, and it just creates, I just really enjoy the effect of all of these layers, how they work together. Yeah, interesting. Thank you everyone for being here. I guess that's it for today. That was a little Procreate tease for the workshop on the 5th of April. I'd love to have you all there. Even if you're not used to working with Procreate, I feel like it's a super good exercise in just this kind of shape awareness, and it's definitely something which I think has informed the way let's look at the whole spread. There's a clear divide now where the rubber band is. There's a gap. I like the interlocking puzzle piece here, and now this just feels so separate. So maybe there's some way to bring it back together. Yeah. Thanks for being here, everyone. Now you have made it to the end of the video. So if you put your Cindy's put in 3 drawing hand emojis. If you put in 3 drawing hands, then I know you made it all the way to the very end of the video, and that's amazing. Thank you for being here, everyone. It's always a pleasure. And tomorrow is Friday, and we'll be back here again tomorrow, drawing together tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Take care, everyone. And if you're interested in the Procreate tutorials idea, or you'd just like to support me in my endeavors, my live streaming and creative work, then you can check out my Procreate. The link is in the description, or buy me a coffee. That link is there too. And my next round of mentorship is starting next month. So you can go to dylansara.com and find the mentorship page if you're interested. And you can also just keep coming back here and keep drawing for free every day and giving me thumbs up and subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's very encouraging to see my channel growing since I've been doing the daily live streams, and I appreciate you all being here very much. Thank you. I can't wait to see your work, so please share it. Tag me on Instagram or just put it in the Discord.